Affinity Xtra, be extra.
Hey guys, this is Roger Moore here on Affinity Xtra. We're here to be extra. We're here to celebrate gospel music of black origin. And now, part the black origin part, which I know some people might say, oh, Roger, we're going with this black origin thing. But anyway, that's the reality show, is that most popular music is black origin. But anyway, taking that aside, I'm going to talk to one of the crew nation, the crew of Affinity Xtra. We have a fantastic group, man, that do a massive piece of work on Affinity Xtra. One of the coolest group. I would say I'm the taste, I'm the beginning, I'm the little appetizer before they come in on a Wednesday, and a part of the Wednesday dream team, I call it. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, man, I'm a Steph Curry shooting out from the back anyway, so you know, get them 3 pointers in. And when these guys come in and slam dunk the bad boy in there. But anyway, enough with my trying to understand sports, because I get told off by Sister Belinda. But we're gonna focus on this whole thing anyway, still, yeah. So I'm gonna introduce the Radical family. You know what I'm saying? Now, Radical family, welcome to the Edge. Now, usually of late on the Edge, it's been pure pressure talk. So this week, pure, we're gonna burn down the system. No, we haven't been burn down the system. In the name of, we bless the system, bless it. So this is gonna be more of a relaxed tone, but on a real tone as well, because I think that it's important for us to document journeys in the music world, and we haven't documented enough the journeys. And we all of the generation that's looked up, and we hear about great stories and great things of great buildings we've seen, but we don't know the stories behind it, you know. And we see great works, and we don't understand what's being put there. So people don't say, oh, I'm humble, I'm shy, I don't want to say anything. And then all of a sudden, young people are not inspired to carry on the legacy. Yeah, and then we have now a problem that we have nobody to really doing anything now, because we haven't inspired another generation. So this conversation today is going to inspire the next people that will be digesting gospel music. You know what I'm saying? So I must admit, let me just pitch everyone right. So I listen to your show. I'm trying to work out. I'm listening to it and going, right, what do they like? What is their sound? You know what I mean? I know people cheat and says their sound system, man, they just play reggae. But I was going, no. They play Kirk. Okay, they know Kiki. They know a bit R&B. Okay. What, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to pitch the whole, okay, right, what are their bias to, if I'm going to call. But you guys do play a lot of styles of music, which throws me totally out. But before we even get into styles, I want to know you guys' story. So I want to you guys just give me a pitch. Radical family, what was life before Radical family, and when did it start? When was Radical family? Where did it all begin, and how did it all begin?
Yes, Roger. My name is Marky. I'm more of the mouthpiece of the group, so I'll start off.
Cool.
Can you hear me
Praise
good?
God.
Yeah, man, making it good.
All right, cool. So I would say in 2002, so we all grew up in the same church.
Cool.
Yeah, so me and YZ are brothers, and Belinda has a younger brother who was like the original members of the Radical family.
Yeah,
so
man.
It's us three. And Belinda was doing like a managerial role, and me and Carl's auntie as well. Mm-hmm. So we're just young people in church, and we just love music. Now, Belinda's brother, Swaggy, you have to shout him out. He was like about 17, 18, and he had some equipment. So he had some CD players and a mixer. And me and Carl's dad, he's been a music collector from even before Christ. So when he gave his life to Christ, which was, I can't remember the year, it was in the 90s.
95?
About 95.
Okay.
Yeah, he started to collect gospel music. So as I'm saying, we're just young people in church. And then I was 13. YZ was about 17 at the time. And we just linked up, basically. We had the music and Swaggy had the equipment. So we used to just go to Swaggy's house and just jam, basically, as young people, playing gospel music. And then, unfortunately, Swaggy's grand uncle, Belinda's grand uncle, passed away, and it was a situation where, you know, they needed someone to play some music at the what would you call it now?
The wake.
The after thing.
Yeah.
So we was like, well, we've got the music and the equipment, so let's do it. And that was literally how Radical Family was born. And from there, I guess word of mouth, things started to grow. And then we did an official launch in 2002. And that's basically the birth of the Radical Family.
Crazy. All right. It's like that. So that's it's always at a situation like that when you go, oh my gosh, look at my gifts and let's go hard on it still, yeah. So right, let me just you all come from the same church now, which is great. Now we come from a generation where we're all sitting in pews, and you guys are a bit younger than myself, most definitely. And so I was sitting in the pew, and then my regiment was saying, yo, I'm going out tonight. Yo, I'm going to listen to a bit of, you know what I mean, when you had drum and bass. So, you know what I mean, and all them things going on still, yeah? So what tunes kept you focused with the gospel tunes? What were them tunes? Because we were from a generation that, like, church was stuck into Hezekiah, you know what I'm saying? Hezekiah Walker, you must listen to Kurt Franklin, you know what I'm saying? Which, you know, let's admit, Kurt Franklin was dropping some beats anyway still, yeah? But outside of that, there weren't much music outside of that. So there was so much drum and bass, R&B, hip-hop going outside. What kept you listening to gospel if you was listening to gospel only?
Fuzzy.
Okay, so yeah, my name's YZ. Carl, as Marcus said, I'm Marcus' brother. So I primarily was like the DJ, the selector. We talk about the music now. But we're coming up in the, I'd say, late 90s and so forth. Obviously, from like the American side, you'd have like the Kurt Franklins, and when we got up to sort of Fred Hammond's, what we was on a lot. Hezekiah Walker, so a lot of choir music. We came from a predominantly Caribbean Jamaican church, so that beat, that sort of revival kind of style from the Caribbean. Okay. Very much. We was into Grace Chillers and so forth. So I say that to say when we started to play music now, when Papa San, Stitchy, and other gospel reggae artists were bringing out stuff. It was very exciting for us. So I'd say we were quite fortunate in that sort of cusp of the late 90s into the early 2000s where there was a lot happening. I mean, obviously you yourselves was doing events up in Birmingham and so forth. So in terms of music, a big part of the early part of our journey, and I'd say a big part of the purpose for me and passion for me was to actually share all of this music that was happening. I mean, as you know, back in the day, it was kind of like an underground thing. If you didn't know which radio stations or presenters were playing the music, you probably didn't know it existed. So a large part of what we did was basically just trying to push the music. So in terms of some of the tunes, the launch event that we did was called Release the Shackles. So, you know, back then Shackles was a big song. Man. But Stitchy, we played a lot of Papa San, Gotti, a lot of those guys, mixed up with Grace Trillers and so forth. So the whole soca, calypso, reggae was an exciting thing and very much part of our culture. And so because of all of this, you know, American stuff coming out, and obviously because I personally, from the music side, I worked in a Christian bookshop at the age of 19. So I was very fortunate to get a lot of access to the music. So I knew that there was a lot happening, and then there was the scene emerging from London, Birmingham, and different parts of the UK. So it was an exciting time. But I'd say right in the early days, them sort of early Kurt Franklin, Fred Hammond, Mary, and then your Stitchy, Papa San, Grace Chillers, them type of style here. That's what was rocking early.
So
and there was a big track that Prodigal Son had at the time. It was Poddy, right? Called Radical Style, which became kind of our theme tune of the time, obviously because we're a radical family. And when we used to do events, our thing was to let's make it a radical, you know, like we are young people. We want to encourage people to get up and dance because we were still in that phase where you'd go out and people would more watch than get involved. But our thing was, man, we're young, we're radical, let's get people up and dancing. And so Radical Style became like one of our theme tunes of the time.
I'm trying to think which track was that on his first album.
Yeah, Radical Prodigal was the name of the album. So
because I remember the beginning when he said "Lord Prodigal," that track there. So yeah, and you mean man, yeah. So yeah, man. See, I know my things them still anyway. So yeah, so see that tune there, yo. When that tune boom. And it come through like that, yeah. So you know me. So I'm gonna have all DJ Nard Lux and all them laugh at me now. So yeah, see, I know all them things, you know. But I just play like man's dumb, you know. I mean, let everyone let them serve the kingdom over there. But no, that is fantastic because I think that you know, you're totally right about that because yeah, dancehall baptism came through, and then basically as much as I wasn't really a fan of Christ Tafari, they really structured certain things that really blew up a lot of the things. You had soca baptism, you had reggaeton baptism compilations, you had all these compilations, you had Gotti Mr. Links all come through, and you had a lot of things, and I read, and Sharon Gardner just came with some big stuff as well, and he just came with this quality and amazingness, and you're totally right there. If any time I was going to come through, that period there, you had tune after tune after tune. So, but the thing is, where did you get that music from? Because really and truly, they never really had distribution deals in the UK, and that was before Spotify was hitting hard. So, how did you get access to that so much music? I know he's in the shop. Was it just pure imports you had access to?
As Marky mentioned, we were quite fortunate that because our dad was a big collector of music before he became a Christian, he would seek it out basically, and I kind of took it over when we started doing the sound. So you'd have at that time you'd have like Christian bookshops, and then record shops would have gospel as well. And then I'm talking about down in London now, you'd have, you know, like there's a shop that DP used to work at in Deptford called Gospel Light. There was a couple places in South London. So they were independent shops where this music was coming through as imported. And when I started to work in Christian bookshop myself, then I was getting access more to it. So yeah, to be honest, a lot of this was just basically my dad seeking it out basically, and just a few independent record stores at that time. But I'd say that's a major difference for me. That was exciting. I had to go and seek it out. You know what I mean? So it's not like that you could just pick out your phone and just find it. I had to go and seek it out. So we were fortunate as well. There was a couple of guys in our church that were on local radio stations. So we would link with them. And then basically, as youngsters, as Mark says, we would just seek out wherever the music was. So we were going to a lot of concerts, linking up with the local sort of gospel DJs in the area. But yeah, it was an effort to seek out the music. So yeah, I'd say these independent music stores, little record shops, and the Christian bookshops that were dotted around London. That's kind of how we took it over from our dad.
Oh, no! I totally get that, man. And like I said, it was a season. Was there any inspirations at that time? Any sounds? Because technically, are you effectively saying because I know, you know, sound system has a very a focused approach. Was you calling yourself a sound system back then, or you know, I mean, how would you call yourselves? Was it just like a DJ group or whatever, or was you just raw? So this is Radical Family sound system and so on.
Yeah, I would say so we come from a sound system background. Our family is I would say they run one of the biggest sound systems in Northwest London in the 80s, 90s. And my dad, even my mum, was involved in sound system prior to Christ. So to be honest with you, we've always considered ourselves a sound system, but a small sound system, because we understood, even though we don't have any active equipment to this day, all of our equipment is passive, and I guess people that are into hardware will understand what I mean. So we have amps, equalizers, boxes, and it looks really ridiculous in 2021. Yeah. That's because and that's just the passion that we have. So sound system is literally, it's a passion. Because it makes no sense. In terms of, you know, you have to basically hire vans, you have to have storage, you have to maintain it, and whereas now you can just literally have a plug and play. So yeah, we considered ourselves a sound system because of that's what we, you know, our exposure. We was never ravers or in a dance in terms of secular, but our exposure was like family events because of the family's sound system. So we're used to, like, you know, funerals, weddings, christenings, seeing big sound and taking in big heavy bass line, which is what that sound system is known for. So I think for me and Wisey, Swaggy, we just saw ourselves as a sound system. So but we're not a big sound because it wasn't practical for what we was doing. A lot of the things we were doing were house parties and small events. So plus we were kids, so like we had to borrow. We got gifted, like Swaggy's uncle built us an equalizer. Our uncle gave us boxes. He literally took me to the lockup and he was like, yeah, take what you can, take what you want, basically. And I'm like, well, I've only got a Renault Clio and all, so
yeah. But so yeah, we take pride in knowing that, yeah, we look a bit chaka, we look a bit dated, but when you hear us play, you know we're serious.
Yeah, for a good party.
No, most definitely.
I think one of the great memories that I have, as a matter of fact, is when we did start out, like Marky mentioned, we were all kids, so none of us had licenses. We didn't actually even have a car, but we were getting all these bookings, which we were accepting. So it was our parents who was taking us to events, dropping us off, and then the string up process was long. And then they'd be coming back for us when the event was finished. Sometimes they might hang out, but most of the times they come back for us when it's finished, whatever time o'clock in the night time it was.
Crazy.
And so it was lovely just to have that parental support. Like, they were backing it no matter what, no matter where it was.
Yeah,
and we had no money.
And the thing is that is so crazy, because like, I think parents really belittle their role in their children, you know what I mean, and belittle their role in terms of nurturing the child when it comes to music. For myself, an example is, for me, my mum wasn't really a music person, but she made sure she bought, remember Word? I don't know if you remember the Word magazine. Yeah. So we had that every month come through, and you get a free CD. So my mum would say, pick a tape or album that you want, you know what I'm saying, each month. So me and my brothers and sisters will continually have gospel music, and I wasn't a music fan, but that continually information coming through to me, and that I'm like, this, I got no read. And people says, oh, do you listen to that? Yes, I do listen. I do know secular music, but because I got so drenched with gospel music, I don't really had a great desire to go out there. I already knew the strength and depth within gospel and artists, and I loved gospel music. And it's just like, guys, I don't drink. I don't really listen to secular music like that. You know, I'm not really gassed by that. And the people are like, oh, don't you know so-and-so? Who? Like, who's that? You know, because I've been so drenched, and my mom's investment into myself made me who I am today. Even though she never really wanted me to be a music man or something, she never really invested in me like that. But just having them positive vibes from vinyl, from Andre Crouch vinyls, and trying to work out how they drop this needle on the thing, and then you go all the way to tapes, and then you go from tapes to CDs, and then away you go. And then all of a sudden, inside of me, I just know gospel acts. I know what they've done. I know tracks, and I can quote off what I need to quote off. So it's important what role the parents do. Sometimes I think they just dash the child in Sunday school and done, but it's important what parents do in terms of supporting the young people.
I'll just jump in there again, because you mentioned something about inspiration, Roger. So just to add on what Marky and B was saying, as B said, we were church kids. So for us, it was about, as he rightly said, our parents on both sides. So Belinda's parents, our parents, and the other, people that were around supporting us. Just seeing that we were trying to do something good. So in terms of inspiration, I'd heard of Shekinah sound system. We're kids. They're in Birmingham. You guys are far from us. So we don't have any concept of what it even looks like. We know we got our sound, and how I know the thing is, you have your sound, you string up your sound. I don't matter how big or small it is, it's our things. We string it up, we balance it out, and we're playing our music. So as you're saying about going through that age, that sort of late teenage age where people are start to go raving, friends, and your friends you have that peer pressure. This was what we channeled our energy into. And so we're thankful that our parents supported us because we channeled our energy into it. And then we started doing stuff in our own church and so forth. So in terms of being called a sound system, because it wasn't anything that we were trying to emulate necessarily, it was like, we have a sound, we got music, we're going to string up our sound and play,
that's good,
provide the entertainment. So it's as far as we're concerned, that's what we did. And so later on, although we were inspired by what Chance Shekinah were doing, because we'd heard about them, and I had Spanner tunes, so I knew about Spanner. I knew about
Mr. Blair.
New Thing and Mr. Blair. You know what I mean? So we had them tunes. We had Majesty, Michelle Christian. So we had them early tunes.
Yeah, man.
But we hadn't started. Belinda said we didn't have no license. We hadn't started the road to go Birmingham yet. So it's later on that we started to meet His Majesty Sound System, Reds and those guys, Marky G, those guys in London. And then we started to link with our guys, and we met Shekinah, and then we built that link. But in the early days, we were just stringing up our sound and playing gospel. And as you rightly said, it was just strictly gospel. That's what we did. And we found that by doing that, it drew people to us because it was intriguing. It's like 4 young guys, and we're doing something new. So even though it did look a bit chaka at time, as Marky said, but we were proud that it was our own things, you know what I mean? So we was able to take that old school thing that our parents passed down to us of coming together, building your own thing, doing your own thing, and then we was able to build up together as a team from those experiences.
Big.
Also, I'd just like to add, the church that we're coming from isn't what you would call like a liberal church. It was quite a strict church. You know what I'm saying? And an apostolic church. So when we're going out there and we're saying gospel only, it's not something it's not a marketing thing. That's literally our thing. And I guess people to see young people like so strict, and like we turned down, I think our first wedding booking was like probably 10 years after we launched, because every wedding booking they would want a bit of secular, and we was like, we don't do that.
Yeah, man. So, wow. Yeah.
So we were, and again, as much as we would say, look, we got slow jams by Canton Jones, we got Helen Baylor, we got some tunes that you can, you know, they were still stuck in. Now we want a bit of secular. So, and to this day, we don't play anything other than gospel music. But I'm saying, because we came from quite a anchored foundation in terms of our church anyway, for us, we were just disciplined kids anyway. So we weren't really, you know, it's different if you've given your life to Christ at like when you're 20. So you've kind of experienced the world. We didn't experience the world. So we just knew church. We were church kids.
Amen. Yeah, that's it.
Our passion was really just to give people this music, because when we're playing out, it's not like you're playing to people who know the music. They don't know the music. And I guess this is where me as an artist kind of came in, because I had to perform these songs. Like I had to sing these songs to get them to understand that, guys, this is gospel. Like we literally, if you listen to all of our earlier recordings, you can always hear me saying, this is gospel. You gotta keep reminding them, because it's like some type of weird, but I'm like, yes, this gospel is fine, you can dance. You know what I'm saying? And so it was fun, you know what I'm saying? And we had so much support, and I think it was the support that really kept it going, because when we've had discouraging moments, you know what I'm saying, when people are like, nah, not feeling it, or people are saying, oh, can you trying to cover our boxes, or what you doing here, or, you know, just turning up to a booking, you don't know what you're facing. But always having like parents, like we took it real serious. We used to have meetings and prayer meetings and being covered, you know what I'm saying, before we go out. And every booking we would have to sit down and have a meeting and run it by my mum and Auntie Merle, who's Belinda's mum. And you know what I'm saying, just these little things, when I look back on it, I think, wow, it's kind of deep still, but it's really given us that anchor that we're still going now, you know what I'm saying, and we've branched out and done many other things more than just playing music.
No, just go on. Sorry, but just on a quick point that you raised now, it's very, like, you know, you guys are probably very similar upbringing to myself in terms of being in church, and you just almost transition into this into music, and it's almost a case of, I found it was really weird. Probably this is more outside of the music element there, so but I find it quite weird, because it's like you're coming in a time where a lot of people our generation, left church. Yeah, you know, we never saw the there's a great, because there's many reasons why there's billions of theories, but there was a great awakening and not so much awakening, a great, you know what I mean, everyone opened up their eyes and it's gone at the age of 15, 16, 13, 12, and there's almost a case of we have a generation that don't send their children to Sunday school like they used to, and all these sort of things because of resentment and towards two things in the church. Now, what we find is that I found myself the only guy in the room, literally sometimes in a lot of situations. And you said something about, I remember my wedding. I got married 98, and we just said that, yo, there's no reason not to play pure gospel. And I remember she kind of played at my wedding, and they said, yo, there's usually people kept on asking, Christian people asking for secular music, and it's almost an untold story by DJs, Christian DJs always say the same thing, that Christians will be like this, yo, I need to have my little hour of what I need to have. I'm an hour off, and Christian DJs will lose bookings based upon the fact that they won't play secular music. Now that concept doesn't really make any sense, really. That's like, hold on a second, shouldn't you just clean up in the Christian people market? Now, I'm just throwing it out to yourself. How do you, because to be honest, you feel a bit of, I won't say dejection, but you're thinking, hold on a second, guys, we're doing the right thing here. We're playing pure gospel. Ain't we meant to be a rarity, a diamond in the whole of the Northwest London or North London, where the only people that play gospel only? You got weddings happen every other week. You should be busy every weekend. How did that, did that get underneath your skin, or is he just calm with it?
Then I need to chip in.
Yeah. I was gonna say, for me personally,
yeah,
I think I was calm with it, but I'm not a selector, so I don't necessarily think I experienced the people coming up to me saying, can so-and-so play this, can so-and-so play that. That being said, I'm going to be frank with you, because I got married almost 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit older than these guys. So I did have my nice taste of the secular era. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we were planning to get married, my husband and I, we were talking about, what are we going to play? Because I was like, listen, there's certain tunes from the 90s I remember singing at school that I want to be singing away with my friends at the wedding. They weren't gospel, and if I'm honest, in my teens I was not into gospel. It wasn't until I kind of got into my early 20s, so probably around the time Radical Family started to take off, I started to really get into gospel.
Cool.
And so yeah, we were like, so I was like, I want that vibe where I can just celebrate with my friends and blah 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 blah. So I don't think in Malta where we got married, we didn't have any gospel, maybe one or two tunes, but that was me because I wanted to kind of relive that experience. You get me? And also, I'm not a selector, so that struggle isn't really mine. That was always going to be YZ.
All right. Yeah. So you did.
That's kind of my take on it. You know
cool. So yeah, some cool escapism. That's cool. Escape to back in the 90s.
Back to me teens.
Yeah, it says some TLC, I don't think that's a change. Anyway, so let me just get started there. Go, Mark T, come on. Let's bring us back to church, man. Come on. Let's talk about it. You know me, virtue in 25/7.
Radical Family didn't play at Belinda's wedding. One man called Nigel played there. Anyway, we're gonna move on, right?
Can I just say on that though? Sorry to cut you. Now here's the reality, and I hope this kind of leads you back to what you were gonna say, Marky, is like, I think because I do like secular music sometimes or what have you. And I remember when we was talking about like kind of getting bookings for stuff, trying to maintain or making sure that the brand of Radical Family, like this is our thing, Radical Family, 100% gospel sound system. You know, that was really, really important for us. And I understood what that meant for us as a brand, outside of us as individuals, but what that meant for us as a brand. And it did get challenging when we get bookings through and people be like, but we want to dance to this particular love song, and being like, I appreciate why you might want to be dancing to this song, but we are 100% a gospel sound system. But I think it was important for us to stay true to what the brand is, and still to today, that's exactly what it is.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, what I would say is, I've matured in my thinking. Before I was like, I don't get it. But now I get it. And this is what I come to understand.
Go on, man.
When you're organizing an event and a party, the music is very, very important. It's probably one of the most important elements of any party. And the average Christian, yeah, when they listen to gospel music, they're listening to worship music or music that gets them into a solemn place. Yeah, the average Christian doesn't listen to up-tempo gospel music. Yeah, so what I think is the average Christian, whatever that represents, when they think about a party, they can't visually see a party where gospel music is played 100% and people are enjoying themselves. Yeah, they can't see it. So when they're booking a DJ, a lot of our bookings came from word of mouth, and it was literally like, I was told you guys are really good. It was never a thing of just a random, oh, you guys are DJs, can you come and play? Because when you say 100% gospel, you have to know who Radical Family is. You have this is where the whole concept of the radical experience, because that was the feedback we was getting. This is like a radical experience. Like I've never been to something like this. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I understand that the average person who has a party, who is a Christian, to them, they want their party, they want their revelers to have a good time, and they can't see, because what they listen to is inspirational music. They can't visualize a party with pure gospel. So what they want to do is, but they're still Christian, they can't just have a party without any gospel. So what they want to do is book a gospel DJ, but they want that gospel DJ to be able to throw in some songs that will get everybody involved. Now, as Belinda rightly said, oftentimes we literally turn down the booking for one song. Like it was literally, we just want to play just one secular song, and we're like, you're gonna have to book another DJ to play that one song. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, seriously, yeah. So, and we're talking about also friends, people who know us. They know, they just want just one or just two, or can we just play Candy? And we're just like, nah, like we can play Kurt Franklin, Looking for You. But in the early days when we're at events, why is he? I'm the mic man of the sound. So people come up to me, and listen, I've had pastors request certain tunes, and I'm like, nah, we only play gospel. People come up to me and request, Candy is the one that everybody requests. Like, we don't have Candy, but we have Looking for You. And they're like, no, I want Candy. Do you have Candy? And so for us, it's like, for me, it's when I was younger, I was a bit more hot-headed, like, why is he, man? Can't we just play Candy? Like, because the pressure was just, why is he weren't getting it? I was getting it. I was telling him, why is he, can't we just play Candy? Like, even though I know what it represents, but it's like, can't we just do it? You know what I'm saying? Plus, we the reason why we're so eclectic in how we play is because we literally play from you string up to you go home. So we've got a deep jazz box for background music. We got worship, everything, so we can provide the whole experience for a party. So I'm there trying to get these people to dance for hours, right? And I know Candy's gonna get the whole room involved. In my heart, I'm like, please, can we just buy it? We don't even have Candy. That's how deep it is. We don't even have the song. Yeah. And I'm like, why is he? Please, can we just get this song? And he's like, no. Why is he more starched than I am? No,
yeah, man.
Just tell him we don't have it. I was like, yo. But you know what? Before I would think, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You go to the churches, they'll tell the young people, don't listen to secular music. And then you go to the Christmas function for the church and you're hearing secular music. I used to think, I don't understand. But I do understand now, because I understand a party environment, music is very important, and people see that secular music produces a certain vibe and energy that they want. But when you book Radical Family, you will understand. You will get that vibe and energy you want. But if you've never seen it before, then it's going to be hard for you to imagine it.
No, cool. 100% agree. I get where you're coming from. Now, this my bounce back to that still. Is now I wouldn't say as radical, but ultimately that I agree, but I also feel that the vibe, I just don't think people actually acknowledge of gospel music and how great it, how wide and how great it is. It's not the case that I don't believe that we don't have music to run a party. We got enough music to run a party from top. Listen, because we had to show is that, you know, when you listen to a bit of Brian McKnight, that's just basically a dub plate of commissioned, and they just change the word into Baby Girl. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what I'm saying. And when you got like, you know, SWV, you drop a bit of Clark Sisters, and you get into a bit more heavenly harmonies rather than you know what I mean. You drop a bit of Beyonce. That's just like, you know, you know, there's always equivalence for me. You know, when Canton Jones was dropping all them the Gold album Access. Yo, you telling me some of them rhythms, man? Like, yo. I'm a demon killer. Yeah, man, you just fry that tune off anyway.
We've got everything. Like, the music was never the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is the people that are booking the DJs.
Yeah.
They cannot imagine it. It's hard for them
why is
to
it?
imagine.
But do you feel okay? So ultimately, what we're saying, yeah, in one sense, is that we have an illiterate Christian Christian crowd to gospel music. And they're not, okay,
100%.
you meant to go
That's
it. There was one church. I'm gonna let YZ come in after this. There was one church, right? Yeah. They knew music. They knew gospel music.
Yeah.
Roger, I'm telling you, we played for them like 6 times a year. Yeah. Every birthday in that church, they would book us. Yeah. It was a dream. I remember one time we was in, like, it just felt like a sweatbox. We was like in the HipHop front room, right? This place was rammed. And Dietrich Haddon just released It's Over Now.
Okay.
It's over now. Listen, we played that song about 15 times, because why? They knew it.
Yeah, man.
They were going Wesley Owen, and they were buying the music and bumping it in their car. So when YZ played that song, it was like, whoa. I literally didn't have nothing to say because they knew the music.
Yeah, man.
But that's like 2%, 98%, even to this day, 98% of the crowd, when we're playing music, we're playing what you like to call the bait songs, the songs that you have to know. Like, it's in your starter pack as being a Christian to know these songs.
Yeah, starter pack. I was an unsaved person, man.
But most people, they don't know the music. They don't know the music. They don't.
That's sad, you know. That's sad. Why is it? Come on, fill us in, man.
Yeah, so what I was going to just drop in there, as the selector, obviously it was my passion. And I realized something quite early on, and it became part of my mission, or part of a wider present group for my mission for us. Because you mentioned something earlier, Roger, which we know is a reality. When it comes down to sort of the late teen age group, you'll find a lot of your people that you're around within church start to drop out. Yeah. So for us, the music is what energized us. Remember, we were part of choir and musician. We know about it. We're very active in church. Yeah. But in terms of that energy that you have as a teenager, and certain things are going to draw you away until you get to that level of spiritual maturity. So I realized early on that if you've got a Christian who is comfortable with clean secular music, I don't have an issue with that. My issue or my concern from way back then as a 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old was that for the young Christian who hasn't reached that level of maturity, certain music and the things can lead you off into a certain thing. So that's why for me, it was a thing of, it wasn't me, when Mark was saying, well, I was saying, no. It wasn't a thing of me just being ignorant, saying, well, boy, I'm just not going to do it just for the sake of it. But it was just, I was aware that it's good to have that Christian alternative. And then as we started to mature as Christians and get a little bit older, you had like a whole group, including you guys in Birmingham, of young Christians saying, Bibles. We're Christians. This is alternative. Yeah. And we were right here with our sound, pushing it hard. I was still even then aware that some Christians in their private life and based on their maturity and based on their own convictions will have different ideas. My concern and my mission for myself as a young person was for the young people that was in our church and the young people that we used to take on the road. I just wanted to show them if music is what is going to draw you out, that's not an excuse. We've got every type of music here, every type of music that you need here. And when they started to see it, they would understand. I'd make mixtapes and just give them away. We'd play it. We'd have a roof club in our church. We'd just play music all evening. I'd teach them how to mix We'd bring them out on the road. So what was driving, just to show you that what was driving sort of my kind of being sort of quite strict with it is not an ignorance thing to say, you know, other people are bad, whatever. But it was just more of a conviction for me that I just knew when you're young and you're impressionable and you don't have that spiritual maturity, you need things to just keep you occupied. To me, if you get into your 20s or whatever, and you're older Christian, you do whatever you want to do. But for that time there, we're going to give you the alternative. So my idea was when my school friends started raving and getting involved in other things, they would hear me going out, playing out every Saturday night. They became interested in that. I had, you know, friends in, you know, I was doing little music courses and stuff like that. They would do little jingles. They'd come to the youth club and see us doing it. They'll be in shock. As Marky said, we played in churches where youths just come off the road. And it wasn't like we was going out to do that, but it was just basically, I'd say it was just our mission and purpose at that time. So to answer your question, what did I feel about it as a selector? Didn't bother me at all. I remember, because we were a humble sound, so we didn't come out with a big sound or whatever. We were playing house parties for years. I know what it's like to play to one person for 3 hours.
Yeah, man.
I enjoy my vibes. People know me, I'll play music all night. I'm a selector. So for me, it didn't even bother me. So when people say, "No, can you just play it?" No, you've got other DJs who could do that for you. There's no problem, because I always had in my mind, there is a particular age where music can be a hook to draw people out. So for me, once you get past that maturity and you're fine, then that's okay. So for us, a big part of that passion, especially in the first 10 years of the sound, for me as a selector, I had a very kind of tunnel vision. Not because I didn't appreciate other types of music. Of course, and that'd be silly. I'm a musician. But because I just knew that, as you rightly said, Roger, there was many artists who were producing the different type of music. For other things, you know, Belinda's into like plays and stuff like that, movies and other, that's not my thing. My thing was music. If what my friends are going to go and do was raving, that was withdrawing out. So for me to have an alternative and just be able to just have it, and because just one more point I'd say, because we were in church and this was just our entertainment and our leisure, we just did it. There was no sort of other motive, and I think because of that, it just came free. So for me as a selector on the music side, it wasn't a big deal for me because I've been playing to private parties, smaller functions for so long that I just knew there's a lot of music being produced, good music, and it's just for us to try and expose it.
No, that's just.
I think another thing as well is like I can't remember which one the guys alluded to, when, you know, teenagers get to a certain age and they started to leave church and stuff, and I think it was important for us also to be like, staying in church is all right, you know. You can actually stay and be cool and enjoy yourself. And Wisey mentioned, so we used to run like a Friday youth club, which was kind of all, you know, on the back of Radical Family, which we wanted to be an environment where church kids felt all right to invite their unchurched friends, you know what I mean, and just come and play some games, play 2 tunes. We were really active in church. Like, we were in church maybe 4 nights a week doing something, youth leaders, parts of the music ministry, all that kind of stuff. So just showing like you can be churched and you can have a good time. And I even remember there were some events where that we played at, especially in the Northwest London area, where it was almost a part of having to educate young people, like, it's all right to dance. You know, Marky used to be out there as the mic man, be like showing them steps and stuff, be like, yeah, come on, get involved. And they might have been a bit shy in the beginning, but once you got them up and they really started to enjoy themselves, that's how other crowds would be enjoying coming in. I remember one in Harlesden where some youths came in off of the road just because they heard the music.
Man.
And these weren't church kids, mate. And we looked at them like, okay, how's this gonna go? But it was just such a great way to see, you know what I mean, how the music and the environment was drawing the people, because no one went out there to minister to them. It was like the music just drew them in.
No, that's best. I'm gonna get a bit edgy now with this question now, still, and I know that, you know, obviously you might have had to wear a hat, Sister Belinda, on a Sunday or whatever, you know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you wore white on a certain Sunday, but anyway, so let's not go there anyway.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
As well.
Get edgy, brother. I'm ready.
So, I've done my studies in the apostolic movement. But okay, right, you guys are quite radical in terms of excuse the pun, in terms of what you're doing ministry wise, yeah. And I know the theory of I've been there, guys. I've worn a t-shirt. You're doing stuff on youth club, but did the church back you? Yeah, to what you expect. See, Mark is trying to work out the best line he can come out with because he still talks to Bishop, yeah. But the thing is, and I think the reason why I'm asking this particular question, because we need to document the great stuff that we've done without the support we should have had. You know what I mean? And I want people to be real about this, because in America, the church is in this music thing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm not saying they're all in it, but they're in it. You know what I mean? So whatever goes in the tides and part of the offering, it filters out within the music industry, gospel music industry, wherever polluted you think it is. But now you guys are coming through. You're dedicated. Your church picked you like myself and whatsoever. Now, let's keep it real, man. Like, did the church full on support you in the way that you could be supported you, but you felt like, you know what, it could have been more?
I think the church supported us.
Brilliant. Yeah? That's cool.
We literally were doing something very different, very new.
And
as Wisey said, we had heard about Shekinah, but I'd never seen them for many years after. So I think also we would never try to be the biggest or the best, or we never marketed ourselves, or that's why you probably haven't even heard of us. And we've been around been around 19 years.
Yeah, man.
We've always just just done our thing, basically.
Yeah,
it's
man.
never a hype team, never.
Yeah.
So for us, we got to a stage where, like Wisey said, Wisey really had a passion to make sure the youth them didn't leave church at a certain age.
That's it. Good.
We approached our church and said, look, we want to start a youth club, and we provide the games and everything else on a Friday night. And the church was like, yeah, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And
good.
We played dominoes, cards, and all of that. We did many different things as well. We put on concerts, events. We had we played at the harvests in the church. So bearing in mind, Wisey's a musician, I'm a musician, Belinda was a praise and worship leader, youth leader. So it's not like we're saying to the church, we want to go off and be DJs. So,
you're still serving the church. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? And when we want to extend it and do a little something fresh. Yeah.
We turned down bookings on Sunday evenings because we was going to church where you had morning service and evening service. You know what I'm saying? So we weren't missing church for Radical Family. So it wasn't a thing where it was when I became an artist, that's when it became more challenging for me. But as a sound, we was in church every Sunday morning on time, doing what we're supposed to do, regardless of what time the party ended the night before.
Good.
So I would say I was supported. Yeah, I'm saying we were supported. Obviously, when you say it could have been more supportive, I don't know what that looks like.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Whatever we wanted to do in terms of trying to help the young people in our church, I didn't feel any pushback for it. Maybe I was too young and just weren't exposed to that level of church politics, but for me, it was just the church was
cool.
And I think in addition to that
that's fantastic.
We never really considered ourselves the church sound system, because really it was birthed out of two families that were just grew really close, literal families.
Okay.
We grew really close. So it was always a family thing, but we just happened to go to the same church. And as Marky mentioned, Radical Family never took us away from any church responsibilities or commitments that we had. So there wasn't really any conflict at that part in the beginning.
No, that's absolutely blessed. And I think that is 100%. Now, on another bit of an edgy question now, obviously, one thing I've picked up over the years is that, we're very, Christianity was very, I don't know, you grow up in your church, and when you realize, hold on a second, there's a bag of other different churches, you know, as you start to interact with different parties, and all of a sudden you find yourself at a Seventh-day party, a Church of God party, a this party, a that party. Now, you're meeting different people of the kingdom, which we all, I don't know if you grew up in the same era I grew up, it was like, them, they think that, you know, I mean, they're not quite there, you know, they're not quite there. So we was very, Christianity is very divisive within the Afro-Caribbean community, and I can don't get me started on that one. That's a whole other edge by itself. Yeah, the divisiveness of Christianity within the Afro-Caribbean community in the UK, thanks to a bunch of Americans in the southern states that basically re-slaved us. But anyway, let's not go there. But ultimately, how did you find that from a apostolic, you know, kids coming through? All you know is, you know, effectively Jesus only things. How did you interact? Because I know there were issues interacting, growing up and interacting and really meeting new people, new churches, new mindsets. Then you see Elim churches and you're going, oh my gosh, is this how they really go on like that? You know what I mean? When you start to see different Christian centers like this, oh my gosh, they can't praise like us. And when you see people go, oh, they speak in tongues too. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's like, you know, all these different things you started to open yourself to. How did you guys transition that period? I know it's one of the questions going, I didn't come out to talk to Roger about that, but just something that, you know, it's something that we grew up in a sheltered world, and then we start to branch out. How do we cope with this diversity?
Go ahead, Wazi.
Okay, so I'll just give a quick short answer just from my perspective. Now, obviously, just going off the last point, I think one of the best ways that our church supported us was just providing that foundation. So it was never, and this will give context to the answer I'm giving. It was never like we were, as Marky said, just going out to do music and it's totally separate from the church. To me, you know, if someone gets saved, they need to find a church. So I've never, you know, my mindset's never been like to separate the two. And even when we started playing out, you know, some people would have said, boy, some of the music you play is too church. And I was like, well, that's what we do. You know? To me, it was never a big deal to me, because this is who I am. And so the context is that I believe that it helped us to build that foundation. Being involved in music, so as Radical Family and personally, that foundation was important in terms of our faith and our beliefs. And then being involved, being able to have the opportunity to be involved in music through Radical Family and that whole exploring, I felt helped us to show the youths coming up behind us how to live the life, if you understand what I'm saying. Because there's no point, you have all the beliefs and stuff, but then your social entertainment side is totally opposite to what you believe in. So we was be able to kind of live to say, okay, music is a big part of our culture. It's a big part of what we want to do as young people, to be entertained. So we was able to kind of to balance it out. So for me, in terms of even myself, I had opportunity to there was I don't know if you remember this Christian rap group called 29th Chapter.
Of course I did.
So
Yeah.
So I knew one of the guys pretty well through the Christian bookshop where I worked, and then he invited me to Soul Survivor.
Okay.
That was the first time for me personally that I was exposed to a large scale, you know, Christian festival. So it was a good exposure. We obviously we have our convocation, travel to, you know, Sheffield, Birmingham, we know all of that. So I'm just showing you that through the music we was able to interact with different people. And then through the music again, whether we be playing out at different types of churches, because different types of churches were booking us, playing gospel, or going to different types of concerts. Even some of the concerts that you would have put on down in London or up in Birmingham, and seeing, you know, artists who may not have come from a church like mine, because obviously as a youth, you think every church is like your church until you start to interact with other people. So for me, because we had that grounding and that foundation, I believe we was able to navigate that journey. If you know, if it was as if the experience that you know, we felt that we was doing the sound and the music separate to the church because the church is against us, then maybe those interactions may have been problematic. But for me personally, being able to interact with artists, DJs, on radio, wherever, who may have a different church background, whatever. It was never really a clashing, and maybe because, you know, the time that we came up, the music thing was getting big and so forth. So for me, it was never a major issue. I was aware of it. I was more aware of it as I got older, in terms of different doctrines and so forth. Yeah. But I do believe just the accountability and covering in the very early stages. And this is why, for us, as Marky said, people might not have known about us because, you know, may not have marketed ourselves. But sometimes it's good to have time. Yeah, man. Slow. Develop. Because it's not, as Marcus said, you know, we didn't come off the road or come off of adults. You know what I mean? So I'm interacting with DJs who, with marrieds and kids. When we started, Marky was still in school. I was in sixth form. You know, little by bit did the first job. So we were encountering life. As we're developing. You know, so I think that those early years of just going through the journey, I think helped us to deal with that interaction with Christians from different backgrounds.
Yeah, I think also back in the day, our pastor in the church where we grew up, we used to have a lot of guest speakers coming over who culturally were not the same of us. Like, it was a lot of Americans, some from South Africa. So they didn't necessarily naturally align with some of the doctrines that we had. Wearing hats, for example, or they just dressed a little bit differently. But their word was always very solid. So I think it kind of opened up our eyes and our understanding to not be so closed-minded. And then I started to travel a lot at 21. So I started going to America a lot and mixing with a whole lot of different people. And again, it was just insightful in terms of, all right, we don't all have to look exactly the same. You know what I mean? What we do believe, the core parts and the important parts of what we believe is the same. And that fundamentally is what was most important.
That's blessed, man. That's beautiful. Marky, you got anything to say on top of that, or about the churches?
I chat nothing.
Yeah, so yeah. You know, no more
points I got to just let slide still.
No, that's blessed, and I think something you mentioned there that we mentioned is concerning about process, and a lot of people see like the likes of myself, yourself, and people have said, okay, I always said that people didn't know what I looked like until Facebook came out. They saw what I did, but they never knew what I looked. I think Facebook kind of baited me out there. They said, oh, this is the guy. I never forget, I was in a concert now, man, what, you know, I loved being like a ghost. No one knew Roger. No one knew what Roger looked like, but they knew what Roger did. So I've had bait times, artists walk over like through me, and then they go, oh yeah, that's Roger. Oh no, that's the man I just treat like. So I love that life. That was a beautiful life, but things started to change. But I do appreciate the fact that basically what I do now and how I talk now, I was allowed to grow in Christ over the past 10-20 years, you know what I mean, what 10-20 years, 20 odd years in Christ. You know, like you said, I started as a teenager, my first shows from doing my stuff in the youth clubs, very similar background to what you guys did. You know, I was doing Street Fighter 2 competitions in church, you know, at the back on a Friday, designing flyers. That all these things are the things that make me who I am today. You know, I was using dot matrix printers at my college to print the flyer for Street Fighter, come to church, compose, get 50p at the end if you know what I mean. So all these things I was kind of doing, and it was development of who I am. But something that we cannot deny is the process, and I think that the process, I always said to my friends, said, if I was really who I am 20 years ago, my character couldn't handle where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? You know me, I'd just crash the car, you know what I mean? But now I got the maturity to deal with certain situations and the highs and lows of ministry, and it's an important role that I think we are now. Now we're into mature stage, and sometimes as a minister who grew up in church, sometimes you get sidelined. A lot of times I got sidelined because my testimony wasn't so tasty as the friends. I don't know if you guys experienced that experience. I see everyone nod their head, man, and they come like, brethren, we got 15 Picnic Pan Road, and and goes, amen, hallelujah, and God save me. And I'm going, man, you got some CSA on your trouble. But anyway, so but apart from that, you know, but that was really hard for me to go through. Really, like, I think it's great to see people come to, but then they're almost, you just get sidelined continually, like you got nothing to say, like, you know what I mean? And it's just to grow through that whole process for me was a tough one. I don't know if you guys had a lot of that, or you felt away because of that, and then you always suddenly hear some preacher talk about the prodigal son. You're like, oh gosh, conviction, yeah, got ya. But yeah. So how did you guys cope with that? Because, you know, we're church kids, man. We just stayed in church and we didn't do time on road. You know what I mean? You know, how did you guys dive past them testimonies?
I for sure remember, like, being young, obviously young, and I remember, like, so a lot of my era. So I'm a little bit older than the guys. A lot of my era had left. I remember they used to come back for like events sometimes, and me and these girls, we're cool now. Like, we still link up regularly, to be fair. But when they'd come back, you know what I mean? There was like celebration. It was almost like they had been rebaptized again. And it used to challenge me sometimes because I'm like, but I stayed. You get me? I stayed. And it made me really think about, literally, like you just said about the prodigal son, how we don't always celebrate the ones who stayed. And we forget sometimes that they too would have had challenges. Do you know what I mean? Like, we would have been teenagers. We would have had the same challenges. We would have gone through our 20s. You know, we would have had certain temptations, but we still stayed. And we don't really celebrate them like they should have been. So that used to bother me quite a little bit. And it was, again, another reason why I'm really glad that the Radical family, that one, that we had the foundation that we had, but also that we had that mindset to say, it's cool to stay. It's all right to stay. And let's celebrate those who are growing up in church, playing drums, singing in church, and keeping it in church.
Amen. No, that's big, because I'll be honest with you, that was a tough one for me. You know what I mean? Testimony after, I used to be a gallus and thing them words, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? You know, like, really? Like, you know what I'm saying? And when you're going to say, oh, Bridget, hi, my name is Roger Moore, and yes, praise the Lord. And you just go straight into the message. You got no beginning part of your message. So it's definitely crazy. Any, you guys got any, or you guys were just cool, like, yeah, man, you guys go on road and come back and road. But how did you guys feel about that sort of situation?
Say, Wisey's name is developed from Wise You. So for a lot of my frustrations, I've just channeled through him, and he's just always just been like level-headed, like don't watch that. Well, I one thing I will say for me and Wisey especially, and for Belinda as well. Yeah, our family, like, you know, outside of our immediate family, they're not Christians. So there were certain things, like, we would go to a wedding or a family christening or whatever, and be exposed to weed smoking, be exposed to dance. Okay, So for me, I wasn't really frightened for that, because it was like there, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't feel like, oh, I need to go and experience a dancer, because like, you know what I'm saying, my little cousin's christening was a dancer. These little experiences, I've looked back now and realized it's kind of removed that fascination for me personally.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and again, we grew, like, our parents were born in Jamaica and came over here. So, and a lot of my friends, their parents were born in England. So I think the differences in how we grew, where we grew in a very Caribbean house, you know what I'm saying? So I think that balance for me has helped me through. You know, I always felt like Radical family always made me feel bossy, like, yo, like proud, you know what I'm saying? Like, if people was like, oh, like, you know, can't you guys play a bit of sex? No, like, it was never a thing that I shied away from, like, saying, oh no, we can't. Like, I was like, nah, like, come and experience what we do in it. Book us and you'll see. But also because Wisey always kept the thing grounded. Maybe too much sometimes. But it was always like, whenever I'm like, yo,
leave the bishop alone.
Yeah, that's private joke. That's what we call him. Let's do that. He was like, no. Like, let's just take our time. So that grounding really just kept me thinking. It kept me humble, you know what I'm saying, and just made me think. I used to see, like, we've seen many come and go, you know what I'm saying, and we've played at events with the whole of the, you know, that crop of, it's not positive gas, it's gospel. We've played at park events, and you know what I'm saying, like all of the big names now when they were just coming in, and again, even though we grew up in a very strict church, we used to go to so many concerts, like Winans Phase 2, Fred Hammond, Kurt, I've seen them all. So for me, it wasn't like I was sheltered, even though we was, you know, kind of sheltered in terms of like we, you know, hat wear in church and etc. I wasn't sheltered in terms of what's out there. What's out there? I didn't really feel that, to be honest.
I feel like we loved our life the way it was.
100.
And it was actually nice to be able to say to friends who may not have been in church, like, this is what my weekend looked like, and in all truth, it was much better than theirs was. Even though I'd spent it at a Winans Phase 2 concert or what have you when we went to see Papa San, and I just felt like we always just had something going on, so we were just always engaged, always busy, always enjoying life. And then the fact that we're in Christ, we were always safe. Do you know what I mean? Like, we weren't worried about what was going to kick off at any events that we were playing at. We didn't have to walk with nothing just in case something kicked off, because it just wasn't happening in the environments that we were going to.
No, that's 100% best. Wise, what are you going to say?
I would just, what I'd add to there in terms of the initial question that Roger raised, in terms of being in church, because as Mark and Belinda mentioned earlier, because you was already active in church, that whole thing with the different testimonies background was never an issue for me. Where I had to engage with that difference was doing music. So it was when I started to engage with Shekinah, engage with His Majesty Sound System, and them man, they had some different testimony. But when I'm moving around them now, I'm a youth. And the thing is, we were doing the same events as them. We've done Birmingham Carnival. We've done Notting Hill Carnival. You know, we've played on Queen's Jubilee. We've done events that are outside of the church arena. But what I think in terms of your question was helpful to us, obviously we're in the social media age, but when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, and meeting some of these guys who we used to hear about, what was good is we used to just talk. We used to just reason. So when I'm talking to Spanner, Miller, and then Mandy, we said, well, you know, our story is slightly different. You know what I mean? And this is where we come from. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, this is where we've done. We played in this type of event. We played with that type of event. Same thing with His Majesty Sound System, because they were based in London, and there were other sounds as well. But we built a big relationship, a quite strong relationship with them. But a lot of that relationship, as much as it was music, it was just reasoning. So they were seeing where we come from, and I could see where they were coming from. So for me, it was never an issue even doing music, because it was like how we saw it. Yes, there's man off the road who needs to hear about a man off the road, but there's also youths in church who can affect their friends through their lifestyle and, you know, actually living what they believe, that maybe we can talk to that experience. But we also found that as long as you are doing, and we found in our experience, as long as you're doing what you believe God has equipped you to do with accountability, you can affect anyone. Anyone can be drawn to you. So for me, it was never an issue. But going out, I must say, you know, I did start to be like, wow, they might have some big testimony. I just enjoy playing music, you know what I mean? But because I reasoned it out with them, it wasn't that, it's okay, you know what I mean? It's okay, because we're showing you don't have to leave. Some people have left and other things have happened. So I think that, again, with the whole, we describe it as ministry. You know, sometimes when we were younger, for me, it was just entertainment. But little did I understand that obviously it's living the lifestyle. So that is what we were showing the youths coming up and showing the youths around, is that you can actually live this, and it doesn't have to be this two separate worlds. So when I started to engage with other selectors and other, you know, guys up in Birmingham, I mean, we were engaged with like Hatman MC them times.
Hatman,
So we was meeting all these, and they had different testimonies. I mean, so I think just being able to share, and as I say, reasoning with the Shekinah guys, reasoning with His Majesty Sound System and other sounds in London as well, that we have different testimonies, but everybody has their space, and everybody has their purpose.
That's good. No, and that's blessed, because we're gonna come down nicely on this, man. But the reality show is that what's important, is that basically, and as much as the great testimonies are great, but for me, what I always say to people is we always have a focal point of going out there and evangelizing, but we need to also do some prevention is better than cure. And we, right. And a lot of our systems in our places is focusing on cures. Cures are amazing. But if you eat less meat, maybe you're less likely to find yourself in certain places, you know what I mean? So now people are kind of now looking at, and what my encouragement for people is, it's not about what I'm really passionate is, because everyone's focusing, let's go to the road, man, let's go on the hardcore road, which is part of what we do, and I love it. But the thing is, going around to house parties for the youngsters and being and bringing them gospel music, wholesome music, which they can go, you know what, I actually don't need to actually get them to think a different way, and give them the options is real important. It's part of the prevention process, and that's what I do at Affinity Xtra, because I look at my sons and I've purposely kind of, obviously they're around me, I make sure, well, it's not by given, because I've seen a lot of ways, but I'll make sure they know the gospel music out there, the latest music that they like, the sound and different things like that. So they've exposed to that, and I've seen that they've gravitated, and they're always rushing me. Have you heard about Joey Vantes, Dad? Have you heard his new track? Have you heard this? They heard this. So they've got their own little styles going on. And it's important that wherever way they go, they've got that grounding, that seed that's been sowed. So what you guys have done, and what you guys are going to do, and what we are going to do together, because I believe that the linking up through Affinity Xtra is something that's for me is a bigger project what God is doing in the UK. I really do feel that we've never really linked together in terms of media, in terms of sound, in terms of the whole platform of playing music out there together in the UK, and it's really important. Our testimonies, our journeys. I went to Shekinah as a kid. I never went on road, and I was like I learned. I never knew nothing about sound systems apart from going to my grandma's birthday party, and I never knew about alcohol unless I go to my granddad's. my nan's on a Friday night, and you see grandpa go and say, why is he slurred speech? You know what I mean? Why are we going to nanny's anymore on a Friday? Because your granddad come drunk every time. But you know what I mean? So all these things were actually seeds that were sowed in me that prevented me from being an alcoholic. You know what I mean? You put me off. You know what I mean? So there's certain things that I must admit, listening to your journey, guys, has been a blessing, because it's kind of thinking, gee whiz, that's not too far off mine. The only difference is that, I wasn't really in apostolic. I grew up in a Wesleyan environment, more, I wouldn't say, we weren't as loud. That's the best way to say it. And our services were probably an hour. And yours were probably 2.5.
Morning service was like 4 hours. Evening service 3.5.
One song could be an hour.
Oh yeah. That's because you were the musician, Marky. You're why keep the songs there going along.
No, that's absolutely crazy. But I just want to end on this note, Tell me your go-to track, each one of you. When you just go that go-to track that you play, that you just that's just your go-to track. I know I should have asked this for a long time, but I thought, let me just say, when man's just like, just want to play that vibe. You get them now.
Ow.
Already.
Yeah. Mine's is seasonal, but right now I think, and since last year, so probably like the last few months, has been Called Out Music, Warm Embrace. This particular track, man, no matter what state I'm in, it just lifts my spirit. I could be vexed about something, I put on that, and immediately, I don't know what it is, man, but he didn't win a Momo for nothing.
Okay.
His reward is in heaven.
You get me?
My go-to track. That is very, very difficult question. That's a very difficult question. Come back to me, brother Raj.
Go on, Wazy. Listen, man, when you're in that mood, is it? Well, there's some certain moods when you feel like shutting up Satan. Obviously, you can reach out to Demon Killer by Canton Jones. You know what I mean? Yeah, when you feel like you're ready to just shoot down everything, even though it's theologically incorrect. But anyway, so let's not go there. But theology goes out the window when you got a big rhythm like that behind it. Anyway, so access granted. People, for anyone who don't know, that album is not available on Spotify, not available on Tidal. Only if you bought the CD from back in the day. Anyway, still and stuff like that. Sorry, I just I had to just get it off my chest. What are you going for, bro? You gonna go for Lisa McClendon? No, just not influencing you at all.
We've got a funny Lisa McClendon story, by the way. We've got a funny.
It's a hard question, man.
Won't go there.
You're not gonna share it,
boy.
Why you talk? You gotta share it now.
Boy, we went to a concert.
Go on.
Right, a Lisa McClendon concert.
Hopefully not my one, but yeah.
The original main act was meant to be Dietrich Haddon, so she was like the fill-in kind of thing, you know. And she just went on a rant about Dietrich Haddon being a punk. I'm being honest. I'm not gonna water it down on the stage, on the mic, everything, and we just stood there like, okay. And then obviously she's like neo soul.
Yeah, of course, cool, yeah.
Okay, like we can start the concert now. I just wanted to. She's like, thank you to your pastor, but I just want to say, and we were just like astonished. But again, that was just a great weekend.
We had a story.
Wow, that does sound like Lisa still. Anyway, so yeah, but Dietrich, after watching Preachers of LA, anyway, kind of put me off. But listen, it's just the Michael Jackson rhythms why he addicted to him. But anyway, so
Mark, he's like Dietrich's #1 fan.
Yeah, man.
Listen, man. What do you mean? Let's not get started on that. Come on, go on. Pick out a DJ. Church on the Moon. I must admit, I like that track. But anyway, go on, come, Marky, man. You must have a tune there.
Right, for me, my track that I listen to, I know it's not really what you're expecting, but for me, it's like What a Beautiful Name, Hillsong Worship. That's my thing at the moment. So I know that isn't really what he's expecting.
This is Affinity.
It's an
Xtra.
Don't worry. If he likes chips and salt, it's okay. You know what I mean? Man wants fish and chips, man. Man wants fish and chips, man. You know what I mean? Mushy peas on top, man. It's all good.
You talking rice and peas and chicken, you talking fish and chips.
So you want fish and chips, man? Don't worry. Him young man. It doesn't know about style. You know what I mean? Sorry.
It's a radical experience.
Yeah, you know me. Come Wisey, man. Come through, man. Guys, hit some wisdom.
Man, there's so many songs. So you mean something we listen to at the moment? You mean?
Yeah. Well, go-to track right now. Go-to track. What are you going for?
You know what? Okay, recent song that as soon as I heard it, it's just stuck with me recently. And the music and the lyrics is Let Go, Let God by Stevie Valentine. As a recent tune.
Okay.
As a recent tune. As a recent tune.
Okay,
as soon as I heard that song,
cool.
Just a messaging thing, just really. Yeah. But yeah, there's so many different reasons. But right now on the spot, in terms of just jamming and just listening to that one really, I really enjoy that one. But there's so many, man. There's so many. That's a hard question.
That's blessed.
I like Hot, Lukewarm and Cold. Yo, that tune. Oh my gosh. Okay, my go-to is Heaven by Still Shady. Not this drill remix stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Track. That's my go-to when I'm cycling and running. That has to be in my playlist.
Okay. All right, guys, man. You got a vibe of Radical Family. This should have been a 20-minute call, but obviously he dragged on because we had to go through the process of 20 years. We had, you know what I mean? So we had 20 years process. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying, man. We'll be talking about Belinda, and she'll be going through her beret. The beret. She could get that whole experience.
Test the hats that I used to wear.
You know what I'm saying?
I never had nothing on me back in the day.
You know what I'm saying? And the shoulder pads and going to conventions as children, you know what I mean? And seeing like when we watch Coming to America, we're going, yes, man, that soul glow on our settees all day long, you know what I mean? TCB was in every family's bathroom, you know what I mean? So, sorry, guys, I'm just bringing back pure memories here. It was like, memories, you know what I mean? But appreciate time. And guys, it's just beautiful to hear the process that you guys have been through and elements of it, and like I said, we're gonna break things. I want to individually, get you guys involved as well. And guys, just keep with what you're doing. Like I said, your show is fantastic. It's kind of quirky. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, man, I'm just trying to do my little thing to kind of like do my thing just before the show. So listen, man, keep up with what you're doing, and we do appreciate your investment into Affinity Xtra, and we're praying that platforms and all what we're doing coming out of COVID, however out of COVID looks like for the sound systems and everybody out there, we're hoping that that this will help to celebrate gospel music of black origin, and a bit of fish and chips on the side for Marky. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity as well, Roger. We appreciate the opportunity.
Oh man, enough love. And listen, guys, man, this is Radical Family, and with your boy here, Roger Moore, aka Roger Moore, aka Roger Moore 007, aka Roger Van Marino. But listen, this is here on Affinity Xtra. We're here to be extra. We're here to celebrate gospel music of black origin. Enough love, man.
Visit us for updates and shows at affinityextra.co.uk.